How to survive a recession. Now, this is not a fun subject to tackle, but it is an important one that impacts all of us. I'll condense it all for you in under 7 minutes. Many experts fear that an official recession is right around the corner. With inflation still rising, the Federal Reserve will likely raise interest rates to slow down the economy even further. If the economy slows down enough, we could easily enter a proper recession. A recession can cause a lot of pain for many, many people, from the labor market to the stock market. As stressful as the thought of a recession is, it's really important that you just don't panic. This is just part of the economic cycle. While the discomfort of a recession will be felt by most of us, there are ways for you to prepare. In this quick clip, we'll look at how you can survive a recession so you can feel more confident about your finances as the economy continues to send us all really mixed messages. Now, what is a recession and how does it impact you? Many people are wondering how a potential recession can impact them personally. A recession is an extreme economic slowdown. A recession could lead to a job loss or issues with your employment, such as no bonus, reduced compensation, and so on, since companies will have to adjust to decrease in consumer spending. But with less spending and less money in the economy, there's less demand for luxury items, and people think twice before spending any money on beyond their basic necessities. The worst case scenario for a recession is that the unemployment could drastically increase. The Fed slows down spending, hiring, and wage gains by raising the cost of borrowing money. This means you could completely lose your job or your income and have financial incentives taken away at work. Here are some steps that you could take. Step number 1. Start preparing for a potential job loss. Now, I don't want to be a fearmonger over here, but even though the labor market has been resilient, it's important for you to consider the possibility that you could potentially lose your job if you're not in a recession-proof field. Companies will have no choice but to make layoffs. But what this means is that you should start doing the following. Perhaps work on your resume. If you haven't polished up your resume in a while, this could be the time to update it. Perhaps reach out to your network. This would be the ideal time to start updating your LinkedIn profile and connecting with friends in your network. Building up an emergency savings fund. You must have money saved for a rainy day. If you're still working, you'll want to save as much as you can, just in case. An emergency fund is one of the main tools in your financial toolbox. Also, look for new opportunities. If you feel that your company may go through layoffs during this economic downturn, you're going to want to keep your eyes open for other jobs. Tip number 2. Learn a new skill. This could be the perfect opportunity to work on learning a new skill or trying to switch careers. You could use this economic downtime to focus on a new skill that could help you increase your income earning potential. If you don't have the resources or time to return to school, you could always consider working on an in-demand skill like writing or graphic design. Many skills bring in money even when the economy slows down. And many of these skills can easily be learned for free at the comfort of your own home. Tip number 3. Look for ways to cut costs. Well, there's nothing glamorous about going through financial struggles. There's still many creative ways that you can save money to prepare yourself financially. During a recession, it's imperative that you find ways to cut costs so that you could be prepared for a loss of income. You could start cutting costs by delaying a major purchase or getting into bargain shopping. You may want to think about chopping one fixed cost from your budget, like a membership you don't use. And please don't buy any unnecessary luxury items. Just focus on your bare necessities at this time. This is crucial. Tip number 3. Try to diversify your income. One of the riskiest things that you can do during a recession is to rely on one source of income. If your job isn't in a recession-proof industry, this is your opportunity to try to apply for a side hustle or look for into diversifying your income so that you have a few sources to rely on. You could try YouTube, Etsy, selling things, anything that you have knowledge in and feel comfortable with to beef up your savings account. You could also apply for part-time work or try something in the gig economy so that you have a few income streams to protect yourself and your family. Tip number 5. Don't panic with your investments. While many investors are going to liquidate to have cash, you should think twice before selling off your investments. When you see your investment portfolio going down in value by the day, it's going to be tempting to consider selling everything. The problem with this is that you're likely selling at a loss. It's also not recommended that you dump your stocks due to fear or temporary uncertainty. If you believe in the companies or funds you've invested in, you don't want to make a rash decision that will hurt you in the future. During times of high inflation, stock market dumps occur and people start panic selling. The volatility leads to wild swings, and when there is fear in the market, always. Any bit of good news or bad news could lead to immediate reactions. It's going to be difficult to resist, but if you don't need the money for short-term expenses, you need to do your best not to panic. Think back to the stock market fluctuations that happened when the pandemic first began. Many investors panicked and ended up losing an astronomical gain just a few months later. I will add that if you're close to retirement, I would suggest you find a good financial advisor that could go much more in depth than any YouTube video. Tip number 6, and these are my own additional tips. I would say pay off any debt that you may have. Don't be a co-signer for anyone. Don't apply for an adjustable rate mortgage, and don't make any risky investments, at least not for right now. I hope you found this video helpful, and don't forget that a little preparing now could not only save you a ton of headaches in the future, but also a lot of money.